Test. Alright. What is up, internet duders? Internet peeps. Okay, so we were gonna test some older GPUs today, but I got a surprise opportunity to do an unboxing for a 5070 Ti white edition from Gigabyte. And so I figured, no, let's do that. That's a cool thing to do, and maybe even be able to, you know, add that into the testing pool. Again, the testing I do, you know, it should be obvious. It's not, you know, extremely exhaustive or what do you call it, like lab style conditions or whatever. I like to do a lot of testing that, for me at least, I consider to be mostly a kind of a real world representation. So especially with my gaming rig GPU testing and CPU testings that I've already done, and if I ever do any more of those in the future, I like to do it, you know, with things running on the PC, stuff like that. Whereas if you just want the absolute verdict of, you know, which GPU is faster, better, whatever, then obviously you would isolate everything. You know, it would just be the most bare bones Windows, fresh install of everything, not just doing DDU. You know, a lot of those like hardware unbox and stuff, they'll even isolate for like what version of Windows and stuff like that, you know, and that's how you find out the absolute, no questions asked, which GPU is better. But I feel like under basic circumstances, you can still kind of figure out what GPU is better with a real world testing. It won't obviously give you the exact accurate, you know, like if a consumer or a potential buyer wants to know, well, you know, what scores can I get out of this off of 3D Mark? You know, you won't get that accuracy. But comparative wise, real world, you'll know, well, when I'm using my computer for actual computer tasks, is this GPU better? Is it a good upgrade? So that's kind of like the purpose of how I test things. And I hope I'll be able to add this into the pool. I don't know if I'll have time, but I at least can unbox it and we can look at it, because from what I hear, for a 5070 Ti, this is supposed to be quite the massive fucking heatsink that they have on this thing. Yo, what's up, Duck? Quack? What's going on? Thanks for coming on in. Thank you for dropping by. Hopefully the audio is not too crazy. Sometimes I get my music a little too loud. So just give me a shout out if it's hard to hear me or whatever. So anyway, that's the basic premise of today. Unboxing this, and hopefully if I have time with this card over the next coming days, I can throw it into the mixture, you know, and just, you know, do some basic testing. Nothing crazy. You should still check out like Hardware Unboxed and things like that if you want the real numbers. But I can still throw it through some tests and, you know, see how it handles things and what temperatures does it do. So, all right. So without any further ado, let me see if I can get things lined up. This camera on the desk. Let's try to do this, and then let me go down a couple more numbers. Let's see how much further I can go down with the desk. I think that's almost as far as I can go. Right there. Yeah, I think we can kind of see it. I'll just push this back more. Make it a little bit more in the middle. All right. Let me turn this other TV off. Hopefully I don't get a copyright, because I had a TV playing some chill YouTube music or something. But the music that I'm trying to play on stream, shout out White Bat Audio, Karl Casey. As long as you credit him, he allows use of his music. So anyway, here we go. So like many of you, I hate when products don't have the tape to show that it wasn't opened after it was packed at the factory. And apparently Gigabyte and or Best Buy, which is where this particular unit came from, they don't care about tape. So that's concerning. I don't like that. Anyway, let's take a look around the box. Just, you know, them hyping it up. You know, you get a 4-year warranty apparently. They got their wind force fans in there. What else we got here? It is, I believe, a 3.5 slot. So pretty big. This is not like, this is literally larger than the 5080 solid core that I have. Now that Zotac solid core I have, even though it's a 5080, it's designed to fit into smaller cases. It's a 2.5 slot. So this is pretty interesting. Most of the stuff on this box is going to, you know, just be what a 5070 Ti is, you know, from NVIDIA, you know, the stuff that they have. So I think the most important thing is to get it out of here and look at the cooler design. Look at the, my cameras are not going to be able to show the colors, you know, like, cause you know, some whites are different, you know, depending on plastic and metal and what paint they used. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to show that off as well, I don't think. So if you're interested in this card, definitely check out some you know, higher definition pictures online to make sure, you know, it's a color you want. And don't make a mistake I've done in the past. Don't have your eye protection stuff, like if you're on your phone or your PC and, you know, it turns it a little bit like orange, because then it that's not the true color. So turn that feature off. So just this typical black box inside, and then you open it, and then they just have here, you know, a little card, probably just some stickers and random stuff. So you got your warranty info. So for the 4-year warranty that they offer, you have to register for it, which, you know, I guess that's pretty standard. Some, though, will let you register at any time from the date of purchase. This card from Gigabyte is saying you have to register within 30 days of your purchase to get the full 4-year warranty. It's kind of scummy in my opinion. You know, if I have proof that I bought it and it's the right serial numbers and I'm within the 4 years, that's scummy that you make me do that. So I don't agree with that from Gigabyte. Here's an installation guide, all that. So whatever. So registering, standard, normal. Forcing the consumer, oh, you better register within 30 days of purchase or you don't get the full warranty. That's dumb. All right, so let's see what kind of goodies we get in here. Guess this is extra support bracket, I guess. There's a lot of that in this, apparently. Here's I guess the base, and the camera will be a little bit blurry, my apologies, but basically this is a base where you put these, and then that way you can put a something fell behind me, scared the shit out of me, but you can put your you know, I forget what the hell they call it, hold the weight of it basically. So there's the stand. What's this here? They give you some thumb screws for this stuff. Give you that. 2 different height for the stand bracket for this. Okay. Try to keep this stuff here. See what kind of adapter do they give you. Okay, so it is a 3 8-pin PCIe to 12-volt high power adapter. So we'll probably end up using that. Yo, May, what's up? Thanks, appreciate you guys dropping by. Let's see if there's anything under the foam. Nothing under the foam. No surprises, no $100 bills, no Benjamins, unfortunately. And let's see if there's anything under the GPU. Nope. Okay. Any secrets in here? No? Okay. Always looking for the secrets. Okay. Now this is already, you can tell this is a beast. The Gigabyte Aero 5070 Ti white. Oh, overclock. So you got this tamper evident tape shit. So it's not foolproof, you know, but it's good to have this so you can tell, like, if something's sold as new, you can for the most part you can tell if it's been opened or not. But there's still, I think people still find ways of opening this shit without it showing and then redoing it, or they just get a new bag or something like that. I don't know, but it's better than nothing. Whoa, look at that. That is a nice looking GPU. No golden ticket, you're right. Whoa. And in person, like I said, it might be deceiving. My stream camera's ability to pick up the color of it, but right now, before I peel anything, it appears to have a, like, there's 2 different main colors that are on here, your silvers and your white, but even the white has almost kind of a reflective silver to it. But again, after I peel it, you know, that could change. Specifically, this back plate. is the part. Yeah, the back plate itself, it's hard to tell, but just letting you know, this is not a snow white or bright white or whatever the frig they call those thing. There's a bit of a silver to it, which I like. I definitely like that. So anyway, and then our test system that we're going to make sure it works and check if we have all the ROPs is going to be this. This is you know, this is not the most modern. This is an X570 Dark from EVGA motherboard, and it has a 5950X Ryzen 9 CPU. Right now that's just a 1080 Ti in there, but we're going to use a see, it will not fit, right? So we're going to use a riser cable. The PCI version on this is 4.0, so we have a 4.0 riser cable, and that's just, I just want to see if this works, right? And you know, maybe do, what is it, GPU Z, and make sure it has all the ROPs. And if it has all the ROPs and it works good, then we'll be able to, I'll probably have to end stream so I can put it into the actual PC, you know, that we're streaming from, and then we can maybe do like a PCI 5.0 slot testing. I don't know. All right, so let's take a look at the what do you call this, 12-volt high power port, and I need a light so I can show. The sense pins are down, in case anybody's wondering. Where the heck is my nerd light? Oh, here it is. Okay, so you can see, minus the glare, that the sense pins, the 4 sense pins, they are downward towards the heatsink fins, right? And then the clamping, clicking area for the locking mechanism would be towards the top. The other thing to keep in mind, if you're trying to get adapters, which I neither endorse nor have anything personally against, even though they're dangerous, that if you're trying to get the cable to go this way, down, with a normal orientation of the card slotted into a PC, this thing is recessed like way in, right? And so, you know, who knows what's the best way. I may test, if I have one of those heavy duty adapters, I might test that. I don't know, we'll see. Let's see, where's the adapter that it came with? Okay, here's the adapter. And, you know, of course, they're just warning you, and I'll reiterate, fully plug in your cables everywhere. GPU, adapters, a power supply, motherboard, everything. But with this stuff, it's very, very important to plug these all the way in. And, you know, who knows, even then you might have trouble. But there's the let me see if I can get light on this to help out the camera. There's orientation. So you're looking for the clamping mechanism on this side and the sense pins on that side. Okay. Now let's see what that looks like. So that would go in like this. See? And so if you don't use an adapter, this is actually good for just using either this adapter or a straight cable. You know what I mean? because it has this like resting kind of ability, I would still get some kind of like protective sheathing for this area right here. Not to cover the whole cable, because I feel you want your cables to be able to cool off and breathe, but just to protect it from these are going to get hot as fuck, potentially, right? So I want something like a U shape right here as my cable's laying there or whatever, to keep this heat from getting onto this, right? So let's plug this in and see what that's like. And again, maybe I'm a little more paranoid than I need to be. That's fair. Okay, so that fits insanely firmly. I could see how that would be, this particular one would be very, very easy for someone to feel like they've plugged it all the way in, but they didn't, right? This one was, wow. I don't know if it's the locking part or if it's just, you know, very close trim on those. Anyway, there's that. And there's still a gap though, right there. So these are not laying on it, but you know, you probably don't want them touching that anyway. But like I said, I would still, I'm a little janky, so I'm gonna take some like aluminum foil and I'm gonna just cut it into a U and put it under that. That's me, but I'm all about the jank. I know people who get a card like this, they're not gonna be about the jank. They want a clean build. I guarantee it. This does have two BIOSes. It has a switch for a performance and a silent. So probably the main difference between those two, performance is going to have the fans just running at a baseline pretty much most of the time, and then have, you know, I guess fan curves that, you know, kick in more aggressively. And silent is going to try to turn off the fans as often as it can, which means under silent your idle temperatures are going to be higher, presumably, or at least that's been my experience with those under most companies. So let's see, what else can we investigate here? It is only 4 ports, so you get 3 DisplayPort and 1 HDMI. A little bit of an area here for maybe some hot air to escape, though most of it is going to come out of these. And then this side obviously is going to mostly be blocked. It's going to heat up your M.2s. That's what this side's going to do, which I never understood. Like, I wish companies would start designing these in a way that it doesn't blow hot air onto your motherboard. But whatever, maybe that would make them even more expensive. I don't freaking know. But like, you know, they could change maybe these fins in a different way. They could still have a 3 fan, right? But maybe have the fins like going parallel, which maybe that's more expensive. I don't freaking know. And then open up this so a lot of air can come out of there. And to me, and then close this part off. That's what I feel like. And then your M.2s don't have to bake. Alright, so let me see, just for testing purposes, what am I going to have to do with this Cooler Master vertical stand. I'm not going to use the vertical stand part, or the holder, this vertical adapter. I'm not going to use that. I'm just I'm just borrowing this riser cable from it, so that I can test this. So I'll probably put that in there, and then depending on how we want to do it, you know, maybe we could show the fans off during the testing. You know, I generally don't like doing these cards upside down, especially Gigabyte. If you're not aware, Gigabyte has had some drama concerning maybe their thermal gel is leaking and dripping out of these. So oh, and look, here comes Blue. Hey, thanks for coming in, Blue Dillinger. Appreciate you dropping by. Yeah, speak of the thermal gel issues. There's a testifier right there. No, I'm probably not going to do a teardown on this. Unless I go through some of the thermal gel problems and Gigabyte gives me the runaround, right? If that happens, then I would definitely be tempted to do a teardown. So from the reports I'm seeing, if mine is having the same problems, I'll probably find out within a week or two. So, but I wouldn't do it before that. Sorry. And I wouldn't promote myself as someone that could speak on, you know, teardowns expertly enough. So I would definitely put amateur teardown in the title if I ever do that. I have tore GPUs down and put liquid coolers on them before, but you know, just very, very amateurish. So yeah, it sucks, man. Yeah, that sucks a lot. So that's what I was talking about. Like I'm very, very worried about like the orientation of using. Like I have cases that allow for hanging the card. This will not go in one of those cases because I think it would just make it worse. And from what I'm seeing, it does it no matter what. Like even normal orientation, it's still, people are seeing it just melt and ooze all over the friggin' place. But I know that would make it worse, so I won't be able to use my vertical case, my hanging case. I also have cases that are like left side cases and things like that, and then they mount the card, you know, kind of like upside down like this. I'm not sure I'm gonna use those either. Just because I don't know if it matters, but if I'm gonna have oozing, I'd rather the oozing fall into the fins than on the PCB, if that makes sense. Even though it probably doesn't matter, right? It's gonna be a mess either way, right? So, yeah. But for right now, I'm probably going to end up having to put the card like this because it won't fit in my test bench, and I'll be using this riser cable. And like I said, if you missed it, I'm only doing that because I want to make sure that this has all the ROPS, and you know, obviously make sure there's nothing crazy wrong with it, like one fan's not working or something like that. I want to find that out now before I put it in the main system. But thanks for coming by, and thanks for the confirmation about the thermal gel stuff. Sorry you're going through that. If yours is experiencing that, that sucks, man. I'll be right with you soon. I just gotta get this thing warmed up for a couple weeks, and then I'll be right there with you. We'll be thermal gel bros. Okay, so I guess the next thing I'm gonna do is just gonna head start peeling some of this off. It's not gonna be your favorite peeling, I'm sure. I'm gonna leave this for last because that's probably gonna be the cleanest peel. So we'll get all these really janky ones. So how are you liking the card if Gigabyte hadn't screwed up the thermal gel? Like otherwise. Ugh. Like even this is disgustingly sticky. This stuff here. Oh man. Is this what they used for their thermal gel? Is that why they're having problems? send my card. I'm feeling that they're use the thermal gel again, but apply it thicker. Oh my god, yeah, I kind of feel like that's probably what they're doing. Yeah, no dice. I would be wary of that as well. I'd rather wait it out, you know. Make sure you register. The card in my box said you have to register within 30 days to get the full 4 years. So make sure you, even if you're, you know, thinking about returning, just in case, register that sumbitch. Perform really well. Ah, cool. And then I can never tell. Some cards, yep, this one does. Some cards have this stuff, and some don't. What in the tree? Gosh, I hate this stuff. Okay. Not really sure. Like, some don't even put these on. Not sure if it's that important. You did register. Good. Yeah, it sucks, man. It feels like this launch, or this, the 5000 series, it's like it doesn't matter. Like, there's just been problem after problem, no matter what you went with. Whether you were fighting with prices. Yeah, look at this. I don't know if it's visible. Let me get some light on that. I just unboxed it, and you can see some of the thermal gel or whatever is just waiting right there, just waiting to ooze around. And if that's a thermal pad, damn. No, that looks like gel to me. Yeah, that's gonna ooze like crazy right there. Oh, Gigabyte. What the hell, guys? Take these off. So yeah, like I said, if I go through the same thing, which I can already tell it looks like I am, during my 30 days, if I don't like it, I'm gonna return it, right? But if I keep it past return window, I will not RMA this for, like, I'll wait a year, you know. That way, whatever they're doing to fix these, hopefully they work that out by the time that I do RMA it. But that, you know, that's all wishful thinking. It's like they say, wish in one hand and crap in the other, and see which one fills up faster. Alright, here we go. This will be the nicer peel, I hope. Boom! Dude, does this have... Never friggin' tell, man. Yeah, it does. What the frig? Even this has. There's just peels everywhere. Bloop. What the flip, my dudes? One of these days I'm gonna peel off like pieces of the freaking card. Trying to get rid of all the hidden peels that they have on it. Alright, so hopefully that doesn't fall down into the case. Yeah, I agree. And that's probably going to be one of the debates I have. If I end up keeping it, which I probably will, is whether or not I send it back to them, unless they guarantee to me. Well, let's say I go through an RMA and they guarantee to me, no, 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 we're not doing the gel anymore. We're just putting pads on them. Oh, I'll send it back, no problem. 100%. I would do that in a heartbeat. All right. Alright, so let me fire this computer up here and let's see what it pulls with this 1080 Ti, because I forgot. I didn't write anything down from the last couple days that I fired it up. Alright, pop this on. Hopefully no problems. Be good, be good, be good. Let everything warm up. Okay. Ding, ding, ding. Okay, pop that on. And then let me find the mouse here, just in case. Put mouse there. Might be easier. Come on. Ugh, there you go. Oh no, getting a phone call here. Oh, what is that? Yep. I don't know this number, therefore I do not answer. Let me see. See if I can get the capture to work today. We'll try it. Thermal paste. Oh, nice. Yeah. That'll be good. Okay. Yeah, I like thermal grizzly stuff. I have a ton of thermal grizzly items. Let's see here. What is all this? What is this thing? You need some updates. Oh, crying out loud. Of course. It's always updates every friggin' time. Alright, let's check out if the capture wants to work today. Where is it? Capture card, where are you? Yay, I think so. That's the right one, right? There I am. Yay! Alright. Bit of a delay for some friggin' reason, not sure why. All right. Pop that. Okay. All right, so idle, what are we doing here? I can barely see this. I should have got like a kilowatt that had like a backlight on it so I could see it better. This is not. What is that? 170s. So I'd say 160s to 180s while it's doing a couple things in the background probably. And then we'll see what the 1080 Ti does on, I'll just do 3D Mark just to make it easy. And then hopefully no crashes or anything like that. We will see. Let me check my mouse. See if this thing works. Yay, mouse works. Yay, woohoo. Cool. No, not stress test. No, let's not do that. Probably do what, like Time Spy Extreme maybe. Well, no, we just want to know about the GPU. So let's do, maybe I should do Nomad then. Do still Nomad. And maybe Port Royal. Let's start with still Nomad. And this is not optimized. I haven't done anything to fan curves. Have not purposely done any overclocking. I did, you know, like tweaking. I did go in the BIOS and have it do its own kind of whatever they advertised as their AI overclock for the CPU. And then on the RAM, I just went with one of the XMPs. So one of the XMPs was a 4000 mega transfer for the RAM. And then for the GPU, I haven't changed fan curves or anything like that. So just see, kind of like, you know, the automated let the system do what it wants to do thing, and we'll see how much. So 370s on the watts right now. Yo, what's up? Mace or Massey, how's it going? PC issue question, if I may ask. Yeah, please do. Sometimes I can help, but other times there's been a couple times where people have asked question and I didn't know, but someone in the chat did. So yeah, feel free to ask. And if I don't know, I'll just say I don't know. Yes, what is up? Thanks for coming by. Catherine Anna, what's up? Never used DDU. Ooh, I love the 7900 XTX. What the heck? You updated to the new driver. Task Manager started having artifacts and game crashes. Could this be issue with overlapping my GPU drivers? Yeah, absolutely. It can be. The thing about having those types of problems, and almost any PC problem, is there's almost always multiple things that can give you the same symptoms. But, you know, people who are even more in the know than, you know, an amateur like me, they can still narrow it down. But yeah, absolutely. You can, so sometimes just by, I've had issues with a 3080 Ti that was giving artifact issues. And all I did was clean install the GPU drivers. And those artifacting problems went away. And so you just want to make sure. Yep, and there's a confirmation. It could be, yep. So you just want to make sure you know, find yourself a a YouTube video that walks you through it if you haven't done that before. If you've done it before and you already know, you're good to go, but it's always good to have a refresher. You know, maybe like, I think Jay's 2 Cents has shown how to do it a couple different times over the years, but there's probably tons of videos. And you go into safe mode is typically the best to do. What I like to do is I go a little bit further than what some walkthroughs will tell you, because I trade out GPUs quite often. So sometimes I'll have like Intel, NVIDIA, and Radeon drivers on the same PC. So I like to, when I do DDU, if I'm trying to really clean install, I go through all 3 of those. So first I go into safe mode. You know, obviously make sure you have the newest DDU ready to go. I go into safe mode, and whatever GPU I'm installing, like let's say, or GPU that I'm working with, right? Like in your case it's the AMD. Those are the drivers I uninstall last, right? So if I was in your situation, I would first uninstall Intel GPU drivers, unless you're using like the iGPU or something and you don't want to bother. I still think it's better. Just uninstall those. You can reinstall them when you get back into Windows. And then do not shut down. Stay in safe mode. Tell it to clean up the Intel drivers and get rid of them, but don't shut down. Then go on and get rid of NVIDIA, because you might have residual drivers from previous cards. And then go and do that with your AMD one, and at that point you can tell it to shut down, so you can do a clean install. And then there's other things like some people recommend that can help you out, like making sure your Wi-Fi or your Ethernet or both are disconnected, because you don't want Windows to try to install the drivers for you, because you're going to want to have those ready to go as well. That way when you're done with DDU and you go back into Windows, you can try to clean install those puppies before Windows even tries to mess with it. You know what I mean? And yeah, a lot of times that will fix your problem, but other times it could be other things. Might be another conflict. Certain software or Windows problems can also look like that. And then yes, unfortunately it could also be hardware. So that sucks. Brand new build. Okay. Yeah, I'm a little how should I say it? I'm a little like anal, so even on brand new builds I uninstall things. But yeah, if it's brand new you don't have to. You can just do the AMD drivers. Yo, thanks for that. Thanks for that follow. Appreciate it. Yeah, I multi-stream everywhere. That's an insane motherboard. That's my homage to EVGA right there. That's the X570 Dark. RIP EVGA. Yeah, I would recommend, you know, at bare minimum, get rid of your AMD drivers. Yeah. Hope it's not GPU. Quite sad. Yeah, definitely, dude. Two months ago, never had issues. Build backwards from what people think. Yeah. CPU and Intel CPU. No, that's cool. Yeah, I like dabbling with both, and I've had good results with all kinds of brands, and I've had bad results with all kinds of brands. So yeah, appreciate all the people dropping by today. Thanks, guys and gals, thank you so much. All right, let's throw another one at it, just to, you know, get some baseline feelings. No, we don't want the demo. We just want normal testing. All right. Yeah, that's good advice from Catherine. Do that first. Whoa, the RAM gets quite warm. Interesting. Oh gosh, we're running at 10 FPS on this 1080 Ti. Oh no, poor thing. GPU is in the 60s. It's climbing. Chipset driver? Okay, so chipset driver is the relationship between your motherboard's particular chipset, like X570, Intel chipset, which would be like Z790, Z890, whatever those might be, and your CPU and the rest of the components on your board. So it's more, chipset is more of a like on AMD stuff, chipset is more prominent of a, it can cause problems if you don't do that in a certain order. I don't know why. A lot of Intel stuff gets like installed with Windows no matter what you do. Yeah, exactly. So I like Catherine's advice to, like, you know, if you're gonna start clean with a clean build and, you know, you're cleaning things up, clean everything out, do the chipset drivers first, you know, and then restart and go in and do your GPU drivers. But, you know, it doesn't matter since you have an Intel build. It's still good advice. It's just more finicky with AMD, but it's still good advice to get all of your motherboard stuff and your CPU stuff, your network stuff, all those drivers installed first. It still helps, you know, sometimes. It's just, I agree with Catherine. In my experience as well, AMD is a little more finicky when it comes to that stuff. All right, let's see. I want to see what temperature we hit with this poor 1080 Ti here. Well, we got to 85 degrees on this 1080 Ti. That's crazy. Again, I didn't do any fan curves or anything like that. This is just kind of letting it do what it does. Right now, kind of idling, we're at like 163 watts total system power. And you know what, let's do times by extreme, kind of see what we end up using on power draw. Wait, did I turn off the demo? I hope so. Damn it. We'll see if I did or not. Right, exactly. With Intel, Windows will usually take care of it, but it's still good practice to let that happen first. and then that way you can have a nice fresh install of those AMD GPU drivers. Even with Intel, you let all that stuff go first, and then restart, go back in, and get your AMD stuff in there for the GPU. You know, if you're gonna do the Adrenaline software and all that, make sure you have everything kind of like downloaded ahead of time. It kind of helps you. And you know, either have it on your hard drive or on a thumb drive. And then you don't have to worry about whether or not you have your Wi-Fi or Ethernet unplugged if you're trying to avoid some random automatic update hitting the system. Cool. Same to you. Same to you. And absolutely, thanks so much. My bub, thanks. Thanks for that follow, or excuse me, subscribe over on YouTube. Appreciate it. All right, so I'm waiting for the combined, is that the combined test? Yeah, we're at 380s from the wall. Hi, everybody. Yeah, thanks for helping out with that, Catherine. Appreciate it. Sometimes I freaking say things in such a horrible order. It is much better for someone, perhaps you have a little more experience, and then also since you type it out, it's a lot easier for people to follow it that way as well. Yeah, don't, like, if you're still listening, Mace or Massey, definitely make sure you pause Windows updates and unplug your Ethernet, and make sure Wi-Fi is off on your computer, because I've had computers that immediately switched to Wi-Fi because I forgot it had a Wi-Fi adapter, and I forgot that I had connected it to my Wi-Fi in the past. And a Windows update hit me right when I was trying to clean install things. And it's very annoying. It's so annoying. So when I don't forget, I make sure all internet is off on the computer when I want to do clean install. Let's see what the CPU's pulling. 305, 307 for the physics or CPU thing that they're doing right now on TimeSpy. And then, as usual, the NZXT temperature thing has frozen again. So the EVGA motherboard is telling us we're hitting about 69 on the CPU temperature. And then now even this like bugged out, and it's showing me the liquid temperature twice, which is not what I want, but whatever. Bow, 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 bow. All right, cool. So I think I'm ready. I'm gonna shut down and I'm gonna test out this Gigabyte card and hope that we have all of the ROPs. Where the heck is my screen here? Where is it? No, not that. Well, anyway, hello everyone. What the frig? All right, let me just shut this down. It doesn't matter. Let me shut this pewter down. Okay, 3D mark. Finished. Okay. And then actually let me also install what is it from Tech Power Up? I don't know if it's from them, but they have a version of it. The GPU Z. I need to get that because that's just a quick way to check the ROPS. Anyway, I guess I'll just kind of show this off a little bit more. Put it right there. That's what we're hoping will work okay. Alright, I don't need this. No, I don't need this. I'm uninstalling all that. Chill. Whatever. What I do need is GPU Z. GPU Z. Go. Tech Power Up. There we go. Download. Yes, please. Where is it? Standard. Ooh, they have an Asus ROG themed one still. That's the one I have on my gaming PC. Oh, you're on Mint? Oh, that's cool. Rage 2 Windows, which I did not want. Yeah. Yeah, Windows will make you rage. For real. For real. Oblivion Remastered? No issues. Oh, yeah, Proton from, you know, I don't dabble with Linux probably in years. But Proton's getting a lot of good like results lately. And maybe even for quite a while. 'Cause like I said, it's been years since I've played with Linux directly. It may not fit. Yeah, you noticed that? Yeah, we're going to be using a riser cable. Yeah, this is for a build that it will fit in. But I don't want to go through all the trouble of installing it just to then find out it's missing ROPS. Because if it's missing ROPS, it's going right back. I'm not even going to play around with RMAing. It will go back to the store. If it has all the ROPS, but then there's something else wrong with it, it will go back. If before 30 days happens, if the thermal paste or thermal gel that Gigabyte cards are having problems with, if it starts oozing, it will probably go back as well. So I just want to get a handle on it as quick as possible. Let's do standard version. US 9. Yeah, let's download from the US 9 server, whatever that means. Where'd my download go? No way, dude. Did it disappear? Ah, there it is. All right. Yes, let it run. No, not now. Okay, I guess I'll show the GPU Z thing. How the fuck? That is so small though. Hold on. Let's see if I could go to maybe my live scene. Excuse me. It might still be blurry or hard to read, but I'll just read it. So this one, this is a 1080 Ti EVGA vendored reference 1080 Ti, and it's showing what, 88. I don't know. It's way too late for me to do anything with this card if it doesn't have the ROPS it's supposed to, but apparently we are able to use GPU Z. So let's pin that to the taskbar here so I can get to it easier, hopefully. All right, what else do we need? You refuse to give NVIDIA Monday. Man, I almost got a 7900 XTX a month ago for $900. I was this close, and I don't know if they oversold or whatever, but it fell through, and I just got a cancellation thing like weeks later. But yeah, I was gonna go that direction. Looks good. Okay, cool. Nope, not that one. This one. No. Yeah, that'd be fine. We'll do with that. That's cool. Yo, Tux Bite, thanks for dropping by. What's up? Arc 770. Oh, nice, dude. No issues so far. Nice. What kind of games do you like to play? Or are you using it for only work, or do you do many things with your card? Okay, so now we're going to see if I have the DDU ready to go before I share my screen. What is this thing? 9.0? Wait, I already have that. Cancel. Updates are available. Okay, I guess. Yes. Why does it keep asking me? Confirm. Opt out. Thank you. Oh, what's up? Yo, thanks for that sub over on YouTube, Tux. Appreciate it. Baldur's Gate 3 and Valheim, Cyberpunk. Oh, well, dude, that's some heavy duty gaming right there, man. That's cool. Right on. Yeah, if you're having fun with those games, then that's a good GPU. Alright. Where is DDU? Damn it. Wow, he has an update today. Let me get this going. He has an update today. Wagner Tools? Yeah, maybe. Let's see. Oh no, actually May 2nd. But it's a recent update. It's fine. Download. I'll get this one, I guess, so I can move it around wherever I want it. Let's close that one. Okay. Copy that. Put that over here. I think I already have that one. Let me see. Yeah, we'll copy over it just in case. Keep both. There we go. That's fine. Extract it. Yes. All right, let me see here. So now we have the newest one right here. Okay, cool. So let's see. Get rid of all that. Now I gotta go into safe mode. Pardon me, folks, as I switch over to, or I try to switch over to safe mode. Where is it? Shift. Alright, baby, don't fail me now. Go into safe mode, please. Yay! That was pretty quick. Windows 10 seems to be a lot faster at rebooting than Windows 11 for me, at least on my system. So advanced, where is it? Startup. Here we go. Startup settings, safe mode. I have my thumb drive ready. Let me unplug the Ethernet. So then here, you can see, I'm just gonna pick, I mean, depending on what you're doing or whatever, I'm just gonna pick regular safe mode, so that's number 4. But you know, some people might need the networking, you know, I don't know. I think I have everything I need on my thumb drive, so I won't need to mess with that at all. And then many times, not always, but a lot of times when you go into safe mode, you may not be able, like if you set up some kind of like easy login, like a PIN number, a lot of times that doesn't work. So just, you know, make sure you have your make sure you have your password memorized or whatever, however you handle passwords. And then shift key. No, I don't want shift key stuff, dude. Go away. Check to startup apps. Yeah, maybe that's what's slowing down my Windows 11 ones. Yeah. But I mean, for me, even on like clean Windows 11, like that I installed myself, and my Windows 10, which is not a clean, it's, you know, it's been used, and it's got, you know, it's got a few things. It doesn't have a ton of shit on it, but it's got some stuff on it, and it just, whew, man, when I go into safe mode, it's like right now. You know what I mean? Windows 11 kind of thinks about it a little bit. Alright, what did I want to do? I forgot. Oh yeah, DDU. Okay, which one are we doing here? 18.1111. Oh, okay, so it sees. Wow, I forgot that I had the Titan X in this build at one time. Alright, that's fine. Whatever. What is this saying? Please know the following. Yeah. Yep. Alright. I want to get rid of physics as well. Why is this? There we go. I can't even freaking scroll down. Alright. That's fine. Okay. So here's me doing more than you need to do. I'm going to get rid of Sound Blaster, even though I don't have Sound Blaster. Clean and do not restart. No. Then I'm going GPU, and I'm going to start with Intel and get rid of those. It's spying more? Yeah, you're right. It is. 100%. Would you like to exit now? No. Okay, and then next, I don't think I've had a recent AMD GPU on this before, but you know, just in case. And most of the CPUs I've used on this motherboard have been non-iGPU CPUs. So, but still, better safe than sorry. Clean, uninstall. Would you like to exit? No. All right, and finally now, the GPU that we want to install and the previous one that we did have installed, an NVIDIA, we are going to, I do this in two stages. You see how paranoid I am? First, I do a clean and do not restart. Dun, dun, dun. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. I didn't do all this, I'm slacking. Dude, it's just, for me, it's like having a fidget spinner. It's not necessary. I'm just very fidgety. So I like going through all the things. So. I mean, unless you've had multiple brand GPUs, you know, over the years or whatever. Yeah. What is up, Derek? By the way, thanks for dropping by. Yeah, you most likely don't need to do all this. Like this one, I don't remember. So not only is it like satisfying to me to do this, I also can't remember the last time maybe I did have a Radeon GPU in here, you know? So I'll just uninstall it anyway, just in case. Would you like to exit now? No. Okay, so then after I've done an uninstall, then I do, depending on what you're ready to do, like if you're keeping the same GPU in, then obviously you could go ahead and do a clean and restart. If you're going to change the GPU, then you'll definitely want to do the clean and shut down. That way, you know, you don't, you got to try to keep Windows at bay as much as possible. So, you know, pausing Windows updates, unplugging Ethernet, turning off your Wi-Fi adapter. You got to do all those things to make sure you try to keep Windows from getting in the way of you doing your clean driver install. All new. Oh yeah, look, a fellow 9950 X3D brother. What is up? That's my gaming rig CPU. I don't have the 5090, so I'm a little jelly. I have a 5080 in my gaming rig. Now I feel like I need to do a clean new setup. Yeah. I feel the same way. Like when I watch Jay's 2 cents go through some of these, like step by step, the different things he's done over the years, like I always feel like, dang, you know what? Maybe I should just go ahead and I'm gonna reinstall Windows and all these things. But man, what a pain it can be. Specifically like the operating system stuff, like clean installing those. Because I never do the due diligence to make it easy on myself in the future. I keep telling myself one day I am going to have an OS drive that is like 99% only the operating system. And then all my games, all my software, everything else that I have control of, I will put it on a secondary drive, which would obviously make it much easier to do clean operating system installs, because then you have very few things you got to worry about getting nuked, you know. Um, but whatever. All right, so now I'm going to do the shutdown clean. Jason makes me feel like I did it all wrong. Yeah. Good one. All right, so let's do the clean and shutdown. So on mine, I was a little bit paranoid. I went ahead and did AMD and Intel just in case I ever had those on this operating system hard drive. And then now I've done, this will be the second time for the NVIDIAs, and we're just doing a shutdown so that we can try to hook up this. And there's going to be a couple things that we have to be concerned about here. I'm using a riser cable. This is not the system it's going to be in, if there's any people who weren't lurking when I said it earlier. I'm just trying to test it, make sure I have all the ROPs, make sure there's nothing majorly defective wrong with it. So that's pretty much the main reason that we're doing it this way. And then if it checks out and everything's good, knock on wood, hopefully, then we will throw it in the actual PC, but then I will have to end stream to do that because it is the actual PC I'm streaming from. So, anyway. Oh, I do all the time too, Derek. All the time. I always forget that. That is like one of the things I forget the most, is to turn that off, pause it. Like one time I was talking earlier, one time I did everything right and I unplugged the Ethernet, but maybe I didn't pause Windows updates and I forgot that my Wi-Fi adapter was set to connect as a backup. And so that got in the way, and then I had to redo DDU and things like that. I had to uninstall everything. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know, Catherine. But like doing it that first time is where I've always screwed up. Like the last time I clean installed a build, I should have did that, and I didn't. And so ever since then, I have been like kind of lazily pushing it off till, all right, the next time I do a clean install, I'll do it that way. So I just keep pushing it down the road, you know what I mean? Versus Gen 5. I mean, it depends on what you're doing. It's not going to be a huge difference as long as you're using all 16 lanes of Gen 4. You know, like if you're sharing lanes with your M.2 or something like that, and you cut it down to Gen 4 times 8, then it might take a little bit of a hit. It's not going to be huge, but there are problems. Sometimes you will go through issues when it just depends on your operating system and your motherboard. Some motherboards freak out when you change from 16 to times 8, and then it's, you know, you're trying to figure out, well, why the hell doesn't this thing boot? But this motherboard that I'm testing on, it's a Gen 4 PCI 4.0 anyway. So that's why I'm using a riser cable to test it, because obviously it won't fit, and like I said, I just want a quick test. It got you too? Yeah, Wi-Fi will get you every time, man. Steam move the files over. Yeah, well, I have a ton more than just Steam. That's my problem, Catherine. I got everything. GOG, Steam, Epic, freaking like, dude, stuff I don't even remember, you know, and then making the mistake of letting some of my documents and pictures and stuff stay on the operating system drive rather than because you can set those to go somewhere else. And I know it's just laziness. Like, it really isn't that bad. So I shouldn't talk like in a way that would dissuade someone else from doing it. It's not that bad. You could probably, depending on how much data you have, you could probably get things cleaned up and ready, like what Catherine's saying, like within an hour or two at most. You know what I mean? And you can have it clean, ready to go, and everything separate. So. So it's just laziness. So now I'm just waiting for an excuse to reinstall cleanly, and then I will hopefully not procrastinate next time, and I'll do it the right way. All right, so let's see. Let me try to share the camera a little better. So nothing fancy with what I'm doing right now. Just making sure I'm turning off my power supply and all that stuff. And let me see, what else am I going to do? I'll even unplug it just in case. Heck, I'll even unplug it. I'll turn it back on, and I'll let the residual power kind of drain by pressing the power buttons on the motherboard and the case. How about that? And then once that's drained, you see the paranoia of Jones? Once that's drained, then I'll turn the power supply back to the off setting. How about it? That's way more than we need to worry about, right? I mean, shit can go wrong no matter what you do. So you might as well try to be safe, I guess. And then I should be wearing a static wristband, right? But I have it on my ankle. Just trust me. Trust me, bro. Trust me. So the power supply that's in this is it's an older power supply. So one of the things who knows? It is a 1250 watt. It is a 80 plus gold. It is a Seasonic. So unless, unbeknownst to me, it has taken some abuse that I wasn't aware of, like, power outages, brownouts, whatever, and it's just weak and waiting to fail. This should be totally fine. We should be okay. I still wouldn't trust like an older style, because some of these stupid newer 5,000 or 4,000 cards, maybe they have a high spike every now and then. I would still be worried, and I would want a newer power supply. But just to see if we, have a working card, I'm hopeful it should be okay. So there's the 1080 Ti. One of the all-time greats, in my opinion. One of the all-time greatest GPUs. I got the MSI Carbon. Oh, that's what I have in my streaming build. Yeah. Carbon Wi-Fi. Yeah. Riser cable with the height Y70 touches the case. Oh, it is a Gen 4. Okay. Sending my PC setup. Then you have to send it to Colombia. Yeah. Man, the international shipping on stuff is pretty crazy sometimes. Unless you can get a better deal with like people who do them on flights. Sometimes you can get those kind of shippings can be a little cheaper. Uh Yo, Vortex, what is up over on Twitch? How's it going? Thanks for dropping by. Yeah, it is definitely goated. I agree, Derek. Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, I've seen some reports on that 5090, man. That thing could be brutal. Alright, what was I doing? Okay. So now I just want to see. And another stupid thing that I'm doing is, you know, balancing it up here. Don't do that. Don't do that, folks. I'm just in a rush, and then I'm trying to also show it on camera. So, okay, put that there. So we need 3 separate. Most of you guys already know this, I'm sure. But you know, some people say it's not a big deal, depending on the card, obviously. I don't care what card it is. I don't care if it's like the lowest power card ever. If I can, I 100% will never use the little daisy chain style PCI cables to like add more separate cables. That's what I prefer. And that's what I always recommend, unless you have no other option. That's the only way I would not go with separate cables. All right. And then because it's an older card, it does not have the 12 volt high power connector. So we have to use the adapter that came with the Gigabyte card. And it is a 3 8-pin, the 3 PCIe 8 pins or whatever. It asks for 3 of those. So I have 4 left over. So luckily I'm covered, and hopefully all 3 that I use are good and nothing happens. But if it does, at least we'll catch it on camera, I think. Right? On stream. Okay. So if I plug this here, we could go with probably showing the fans off. Let's see. If I put it here, then this plugs there, and then that goes there. Yeah, okay. So that way we can see the fans spinning or not spinning, I guess. I don't know. Okay, let's get these. Let's grab 1, 2. Let's put these under, I guess. And we'll do this 3rd one here. Like that. And right there. So then it will go something like this. Sorry if I'm missing chat stuff. I'll look in just a second. My apologies, everyone. Let's see, that looks okay. Where'd my 3rd one go? Oh, here it is. Okay. And then just make sure it's not torquing your adapter. You don't want to bend that thing. Okay. And then yes, this is a 4.0 riser. So let's do the riser first. But the board itself is only PCI 4.0, so we're not cutting down in the speed. As long as this riser cable is good, it's a Cooler Master. As long as it's a good one, we'll retain the 4.0 that the board offers. If it's not a good one, we may not even boot. We'll see. I've had trouble with riser cables before, so it will not be new to me if that happens, and we will just have to wait until I install it on the main build if this doesn't work. Don't do this, guys. I know I said that a ton of times, but don't do this. Alright, what did I miss? I need external help for GPU selection. Oh, heck yeah, man. I went overboard on this build. Might have lost my mind. Dude, I've done that too, Derek. Yeah. Lian Lee, 1300 watt platinum PSU. Oh yeah. Did you get the one that has the sideways ports? 'Cause that's a really cool looking power supply. EVGA 650 bronze. Hey, EVGA made and they partnered with good vendors for their power supplies. I have 2 or 3 old EVGA power supplies that are still kicking. So far I've been pretty lucky. There's only been a couple brands. I don't want to shout out any brands, like, you know, talk shit right now, but if they piss me off, I might say. And excuse any drop frames I had. I think there's probably something with my internet today, so. Outside the case. Oh yeah, Vortex. So this is temporary. This is just me, you know, I'll let the stream actually kind of see the card. It's me trying to just quick test. I'm gonna fire it up, and I'm gonna see if we have all the ROPs with GPU-Z, and then just some boring 3D Mark test or something. Make sure the card is actually running, and that way, if there's any major issues with it, I find out now before I install it in the main rig, and I can just return it because I'm in my return window. So Vortex holding it down over on Twitch right now. Appreciate you coming out. More headroom. LCD fan. Yeah. Those are RGB fans. Dude, I made a build for my daughter. She has, like, I gave her some of my old parts to make a nice build for her. And so it's a 3090 Ti, EVGA for the Wen 3 Ultra, and it's a 14900K, and it's a Gigabyte Z790 Extreme X, the Aorus motherboard. And switching from a case that had, I don't remember how many fans, but it's this EVGA case, but it had a ton of RGB fans in it. And changing nothing else about her build, but just switching to a case that didn't have any RGB fans. And I feel like it runs sometimes in the idle areas between 45 and 75 watts less power usage, which is crazy. Crazy. Went up to 1600, yep. The Edge, oh yeah, I love that power supply. That is a cool one. Yeah, you should be golden though. You should be good as heck. I know, I'm the same way. I like to, on power supplies, I like to play it safe. I get very antsy about that. You had a Seasonic go out. Okay, Catherine, what happened? And they shipped replacement with 24 hours top. Oh yeah. They're good. I've read that time and time again. Their warranty is legit. Yeah, so anyway, this is an older Seasonic in this one. So if this thing dies, it's not representative. This thing is probably, it's a 1250 watt 80 plus gold, but it's like one of their first 80 plus golds, I think. So whatever. All right, so I'm chatting because I want to make sure I remember. So we're going to plug in. Let's see, what do we need here? We need to plug in our power supply. So if we have a dead PSU or a DOA GPU, I'm going to catch it on film. So in case they want to tell me, oh, this and that, no, look, it didn't turn on. It wasn't me. Let's see, we got our mouse, our keyboard. We'll hook up the HDMI. If we could find it. Another thing about this X570 EVGA, with the 1080 Ti, I was not able to get it to boot with this card and with a 1050 Ti, like a little card. I tried two different cards. I was having trouble booting this motherboard. I thought, oh great, is this motherboard died? Did something corrupt the BIOS? What's going on? And all I had to do was change from DisplayPort to HDMI when I was trying to start it up the first time, and it was fine. So hopefully I'm using HDMI on this. Hopefully this thing doesn't freak out because I have a riser cable, because apparently it is very finicky. Alright, so let's get... Also, it likes to boot up automatically when you first turn on the power supply, which is kind of dumb. Alright. There we go, folks. Okay. No automatic start. Good. I like that. Asus went out. They went to Warrior to it after only 45. Asus, yeah. I think that's been the one I've had the most trouble warrantying things, or RMAing or whatever, you know. I had a motherboard with them that was exhibiting some issues, and the freaking stuff they made me go through was just insane. I gave up. It was like they were trying to make me do circus acts, you know, just to get an RMA started. True, yep. All that software and stuff running in the background and synchronizing things and all that crap. That is true, Catherine. Yep. All right. Oh my gosh, this is scary. I don't want to turn it on. I just want to keep chatting. I don't even want to try. I'm freaking worried something's going to happen. Oh my gosh. Let me check the power cables again. Yeah, that's all the way in. Okay. No major bends. It's just a nice kind of a curve. It's just kind of hanging a little bit, because we don't want to melt the 12 volt high power side of things. All right. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Fans kicked in. That's good, right? That's good. I don't smell anything burning. Ooh. Ooh, this is scary. Oh, I have a BIOS. Oh, wait. Delete. No, I missed it. I wanted to go into the BIOS. Oh, well. That's okay. That's okay. All right, let me enter my information, and then we can try to share screen cap. Windows automatically updating things without my permission. All right. I'm gonna go in here, and because in case I think I forgot to tell it to pause updates. There we go, pause. Hope I caught it in time. I probably didn't, but whatever. All right, so I'm gonna use the newest drivers that they supposedly fixed the temperature reading bug that was happening. So let me see if I can share what I'm doing. Okay. Yeah, this card looks good. The card looks real good. It's got a little bit of like, for anybody that's doing like super pure white build, there's some silver accents. I've never done a white build myself either. Yo, Swiss, thank you. Thank you for the bits. Thanks for coming out. Appreciate it, Swiss, over on Twitch. But I've never done a pure white build either. So I don't know people's opinions on whether they want silver accents or anything like that on their white GPUs and stuff. But this does have kind of a brushed silver and brushed aluminum style looking parts to it. So some people may not like that. I don't know. To me, it looks amazing. I really like the look of it. All right, so where is my... Should we do... Sometimes GPU Z doesn't see it correctly, but I'm going to start it up anyway. If you don't have the latest driver, I'm gonna start it anyway. Yeah, it says unknown. Yep, so we need the drivers. Okay, so let's go to my thumb drive, NVIDIA. So you see I have two different drivers here. So this top one, that's not the game ready driver. That's 576.02. That's actually the studio version, which from my testing on a different build, it did not have any problems with temperature readings on a 5070. So it's possible that that bug was only on 576.02 game ready version. It's possible. I don't know. Or I could have just been lucky with my particular GPU. Who freaking knows? But what I'm going to install on this one, or at least try to, is the game ready driver that is the newer one, the .28, where supposedly they cleaned all that up. And hopefully, you know, I have a good working file. And I'll probably go ahead and let it, if it lets it or it wants to, I will probably let it do the NVIDIA app. Just because I like to use that from time to time to check power estimation and temperatures and stuff like that. So I'll probably go ahead and do that. And then we can close that for now. And it's from a thumb drive that, who knows, it might be a slow one. Let's see. And then it's telling me specify, I'll just let it do default stuff, I guess. The motherboard to match, so it looked great. Yeah. Seems okay so far. All right, so there, what I generally like to do personally, even if I want the NVIDIA app, right? Usually what I like to do is I'll do graphics driver by itself, okay? And then the NVIDIA app, even if I want it, I will install that separately on my own terms, right? But just to save time, I'm going to let it do both. So, and then custom, even though we've already cleaned the hell out of it, I'm still going to tell it to do a clean install because I'm paranoid. Yeah, you'll be a gymnast. I missed that message earlier. Yeah, you'll be an expert at gymnastics with ASUS. If you can get ASUS to accept an RMA, on a motherboard or GPU, I don't know about other things, or a power supply. Maybe their monitor warranties are good. I don't know. But on those three things, like PC components, dude, you are a master. And you should probably go to school to be a lawyer, because you're good. So far, we're doing good, ladies and gentlemen. We are doing pretty dang good, folks. And also, yeah, just to reiterate, because it frustrated me so bad, and since we have some enthusiasts now, people tuning in, appreciate you, folks coming out. If you run into a problem where your motherboard will not boot, and you're just at your wit's end thinking, oh my god, is my CPU dead? Is the RAM bad? First thing you should try is change your cables. And it's not, most of the time, in my experience with boards like this one, it's not that you have a bad cable. It's just it did not like that you were trying to use DisplayPort or DVI or whatever the heck you were doing. Try an HDMI cable. Or if you're using HDMI, try the other way. Try DisplayPort. Because I did it the opposite. I did everything. I redid thermal paste. I changed the RAM out. 1 stick, 2 sticks. Different brand RAM. I friggin' tried different power supply cables. Dude, I tried everything, and in the end, it was just this one wanted me to use HDMI for that first boot, which is kind of dumb, but whatever. All right, so we got all that installed. All right. Oh wait, did I minimize it? Yeah, I did. What's all this? Optimize games. Yeah, that's fine. We'll let it do that on this one. We're gonna skip this. No login at the moment. Though I'm not against logging in. I just at the moment I'm not going to. And we'll just check that it's the version. And I like to, after installing these, I like to restart the system. That's just kind of, I don't know, more paranoia, I guess. Well, let's go down here, and let's see if it sees the components. See, we got 10, Windows 10 there, all these things. It sees the 5070, very cool. Let's check these numbers. So supposedly we're only pulling like 11, 12 watts, GPU only. Temperature's 31, yada yada yada. Okay, so let's go ahead and restart. Is there anything else I was gonna do? I think that's it. I just wanted the app and the driver. Alright, so it's probably gonna show my info, so I'll do this off stream. Sorry. Never buy a Asus annual for a board. And that was it. Never got it switched to gear, and that was in 2017. Yeah, Asus. Yeah, they need a rehaul on their customer service. And maybe it's not just customer service, because it could depend on what department. Like, I bet their sales customer service, I bet that's amazing, because they want to sell to you. But their support customer service, that's where I've always had problems with them. 100%. Just went through it with Asus. Oh, with Ace Rock? Oh, they don't get along? So you had a tough battle getting it to boot? Yeah, man, that's crazy. We couldn't connect to the internet, it's telling me. Here, let me show you this. You see what Windows is trying to say to me? Look at this crap. Yeah, I know, Windows, Microsoft. I don't want you to connect. Thank you. That was Copilot yelling at me for not. How dare you not connect to the internet? Okay, so here we are. We appear to be in the what's it called? The silent mode. So I'm gonna show a bigger. Let me switch over so you can see. So it's doing the silent, you know, the fan's not moving, right? So normally I don't like to run it on that mode, like, but I guess it could potentially save your fans, maybe, I don't know. So I'm actually, just to play it safe, because the Gigabytes have the thermal gel oozing problems, I'm actually going to shut down, and I'm going to switch over to the other BIOS. And then hopefully I can get into the BIOS of the motherboard. I just want to make sure all my settings are still there. So, okay, is it off? Are we off? Okay, cool. Now some of these, they straight up, you know, it is what it is, no matter what. Like even performance will turn the fans off. So let me see. Where's my camera? I'm gonna take a picture of what I'm doing. Destroying them? Yeah, I've seen reports of that. And it seems to be mostly Ace Rock that's eating through them. You have UFA updated and everything? I think so. I think it's on UFA. No. Actually, no. Unfortunately, on this build, my operating system is not UFA, so. And I don't know why. I think it's because this hard drive or SSD I'm using with this Windows 10, it was on an older motherboard build that I had trouble getting all that working, so I just had to install it old school. So yeah, they're just they're just trying to be honest with me. Like, look, man, we can't. How are we supposed to spy on you if you don't plug into the internet, dude? Yeah, I agree. All right. Let me see here. All right. Where is it? Where is the BIOS switch? Oh, my phone doesn't want to freaking focus for some reason. Yo, Imbrium on Twitch, what's up? Thanks for coming by. Do I do overclocking? Not really. Like, I'll dabble with it every now and then, but most of my overclocking will just be using a lot of the built-in stuff with like the motherboard, BIOSes. So I'll try to buy motherboards that specifically have like toggles that I can use to try at different levels. And then like with RAM, I'll just most of the time, every now and then I might dial things in manually, but most of the time I'll just be hitting up the XMP profiles. You can put it in GPT easily. Yeah. New build in a few hours? Oh, is it worth overclock? Some people say it is, some people it's not. Can't decide. Performance boost is big. It all depends on your hardware, right? So depending on your hardware, in some cases overclocking can be huge boost, right? But when you're getting a new build, you don't want to worry about that. You don't want to worry about your overclocking stuff. I mean, you know, when you're shopping, yes, of course, you know, try to buy things depending on what your use case. If you want to play with overclocking, then yeah, you might target things that allow you to play with overclocking, right? But when you're just building it, you want all default settings. When you go into Windows or Linux for the first time, just leave everything, let the motherboard BIOS just do whatever it's going to do. Get all your drivers first, get all that updated, get your operating system on there, test out your parts and your card, make sure the thing runs. You know, don't worry about your XMP or your Expo or any of that stuff, or your overclocking. Don't worry about none of that. Make sure your computer runs at a baseline first. Then, when you're satisfied, it's like, yo, my computer's running good. Now you can reboot, go into your BIOS, turn on XMP or Expo, depending on whether you're AMD or Intel. And then you can test out your XMP. Hey, does that work? Are my games running okay? Does 3D Mark finish without crashing? Did I do MemTest or, you know, one of those softwares? Try all those kind of things. You're doing AMD? Yep. So some AMD stuff will run on XMP as well, but most of the time you'll be seeing Expo for your profiles for your RAM. But just go in those stages first. First stage, don't apply any overclocking or any XMP. Make sure your system can run. Make sure your games can run. You know, if you want to go the extra mile, do a MemTest style thing to see if your RAM is it stable on a baseline, right? Then apply XMP or Expo, whichever one you have. Test it like that. Is it running good? Once you have all that dialed in and it's running good, you got all your stuff up to date, then you can play with your GPU and or your CPU overclocks. That's how I would recommend. You're taking yeah, it to me, like, some people, like, if you know what you're doing, you could probably, like, if you've had a lot of experience, and what I would say more experience than me, because some people overclock, you know, they know it like their backhand, like the back of their hand, and that's fine. And they'll just start doing things immediately, and that's fine because they know what they're doing. But for people like me that are kind of like newish to overclocking, I like to recommend slow roll. Make sure everything's good. And then once you're happy with that, then you try the next level. Derek, same. Hey, that's 90%. That's me. XMP and Expo. That's where I'm at most of the time. You know, every now and then I'll screw with something, but oh, that's a good CPU, Catherine. 5800X. Imagine older morning, damage nothing, and get less heat. Oh, okay. And over on YouTube, Imbrium, I'm multi-streaming, so we're getting some good recs over on YouTube. Something to look into when you're like considering, like I said, make sure your system is good first. But if you go down that road, make sure you research undervolting as well in your search for stability, overclocks, things running better, getting your system not to run so hot, because depending on your silicon loudery, obviously, but you can get some amazing results with something called undervolting, where you tune down the voltage a little bit on either your GPU and or your CPU, and maybe even RAM, but those RAM's a little touchy, but still, and you can save a lot of heat. It'll run cooler, and sometimes you can get just as good, maybe better performance depending on your hardware. So I would definitely recommend, if you're going to start researching overclock stuff, look into undervolting as well. A lot of times, you know, if you're not lucky, like a lot of stuff I've had, I haven't been very lucky on silicone lottery, and it's not as stable. Hey, buddy, it's not as stable. Some of my parts with some of the old, you know, and it's very amateur undervolting is what I've done. Say hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi. So what's going on?
Hi.
Yeah. But see, they're right there. There's the chat. We're in the reflection. Yeah, undervolting can give you some amazing results. Yeah, give me bumpers. Give me bumpers. Bop. Yeah, good job. Good job. Yeah, don't mess with that. That will hurt you right there. But it is definitely something you should look into. If you're going to do the research for overclocking anyway, include undervolting research as well. All right, so let's see. Startup, also check BIOS, UEFI, date, update, and then only apply XMP and undervolting. Oh, right, so over on YouTube, yeah, just make sure you got the latest BIOS, updates, all that. Yeah. I think if you want like some basic ideas about undervolting, I think Jay's 2 cents has a couple of very basics just to whet your appetite. But if you like it, what he shows off, then you definitely you want to dive a little further than what I can't really speak on it too much because I don't have a lot of experience with it. So you're welcome, Imbrium. Thank you for coming out, dude. And then my YouTube chat is giving some, we got some people here giving some, you know, some little advice and anecdotal things that if you want to look over there, if it's hard to see in the chat window on stream, you can also like check out the YouTube chat just to scroll through and see some of the things they're looking at. Oh, you do? Oh, never mind. Well, you're already there. There you go. Nice. Well, thank you. Thank you for being on both. Appreciate it. Let's see what are your parts there. You got a 9500, a 9950X, nice, 64 RAM, and a 5080. Oh man, dude, that's a sweet build. I have a 5080 as well, though I have an MSRP style 5080 from Zotac. It's one of their smaller 5080s. In fact, this 5070 Ti from Gigabyte is way larger than my 5080 that I got from Zotac. I have an unboxing on that. It's in here, but it's only a 2.5 slot, and I got a lot of jank on it, but we won't get into that. But it is a tiny 5080. This is a 3.5 slot 5070 Ti. So my 5080, if you want to check out some of the results I got, mine probably has the lower end of what you can expect from a 5080, just because I have that small form factor build version. Optimum Tech, nice, okay. Yeah, that's a good rec. Yep. I haven't watched their video, but yeah, good advice. Okay, so I think I'm in the performance BIOS mode already on the card. So I guess what happens is this card, unless maybe I tweak it with the software or something, built in, irregardless of which mode you're in, it does have a full fan stop that happens if it's not running hot enough. So I'm just gonna start this thing back up, and we'll leave it the way it was. So if the fans stop I do have it on performance mode, but this one, for whatever reason, they have this one set up where it goes into quiet mode if it's not being used. Oh, fractal design. Hell yeah. Which one? Meshify 2 RGB? Oh, nice case. I like that case. I'll try to show off here. Let me try to show off some of my my indiscretions when it comes to spending way too much money on computer parts. Hold on one second. It's the curse of the credit card, my friends. Do not let it get its hooks into you. Because it, you know, it's kind of like eating bad, you know. It's like it's good for a little bit, but you know, it has long-term repercussions. You got oh, into that it's overkill? Yeah. um Yeah, I missed that one from you, Derek. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, undervolting used to reap when I watched people do it back in the day, like, you know, 10 maybe 5, 10 years ago or somewhere in between those numbers, like 7 years ago. Like the amount of like power savings and heat savings was huge. But it depends on your hardware nowadays. Nowadays, it's probably much bigger when it comes to higher end stuff than like mid tier. Um, but it used to be like a lot more. I think a lot of things, especially mid tier, are kind of just, you know, they're one trick maybe, and they just run the way they run maybe. I don't know. 2005. Wow, well, happy building anniversary there, Catherine. A 939 socket. Wow, retro. Make some coffee. Yeah, none for me. I'm already caffeinated all to my caffeine's coming out of my pores right now. I'm just too jacked up right now. All right, let me see. Switch my camera thing. Forgot which one to switch it to. All right. I can only kind of show with this, I guess. So this is my gaming rig build. So this is supposed to be closed, but you can see it causes a lot of glare. There's me kind of waving. But anyway, so I leave it open. It's a little less glare because this camera is not that good anyway. So, but anyway, that's a 9950 X3D on a Crosshair Hero X870E motherboard with some DDR5 8000 RAM, and then the 5080 solid core from Zotac, and then the case, that's a DG87. This thing is like a freaking bulldozer, dude. It is ridiculous. But that's my gaming rig. And then the streaming rig is in this Lian Li DeBauer Edition Evo. Or no, excuse me, 011 Dynamic Evo case. And that's the Carbon Wi-Fi X870E with a 7950 X3D CPU, which would, to me, is not the best for a streaming setup, but it's what I had in this before I updated it to the 9950 X3D. And I just felt like, well, I'll try it out here and hope for the best. We'll see if I can like tweak things to make the stream run better. But it'd probably be better off with a different CPU for my streaming stuff. And then that's a PNY 5070 that you can't see with the glare, but it's kind of showing up a little bit. Kind of sucks. And then the test bench is over there with, you know, that's what you're seeing with the bigger camera view. So That's me just that's me being in debt, ladies and gentlemen. It's fun. It is fun. And you know what? I could definitely be spending my debt on worse things. So I'll take that a little bit. But I always say this, don't get credit cards. They are bad for you. I only have a debit and older gave me 4% more performance. I'll take it. I agree. I agree. All right. So you can see it goes to sleep practically. Let's see if we can wake it up. Let's wake it up real quick. I'm gonna and then I'll switch back over. Let's see what GPU-Z says. Because if we don't have all the ROPs, it's going back. All right. How do I switch to my scene here? Amateur streamer. Sorry, guys. All right. So it says we have 96 ROPs. I think that's right. Let me check. I don't remember. 5070 Ti ROPs. Not tops, ROPs. It like wants me to look up AI stuff. I don't want the AI stuff right now. I want to know the ROPs, damn it. It says typically 96, so that's good. We have the correct amount of ROPs. All right, cool. All right, that is good. We made it. All right, now it's plugged in. The GPU itself's interface obviously is a times 16 5.0, but let's see if we can at least get times 16 4.0 on that riser cable. So I'm going to try to run this dumb little render test here. Yep, and so there we go. We pick it up. So on the riser cable from Cooler Master, it's from this kit. Try to show it off. Let me switch over to this one. So it's in this kit. I have this kit for another build. But the riser cable that's in this is a PCI times 16 4.0 riser cable. That's what's in this. And so apparently it works. So that is good. That is good. Very good news. So in case anybody's looking for a 4.0 riser cable, that one works with a 5070 Ti and an EVGA times 16 4.0 motherboard PCI slot. All right, so we'll get rid of that. Now let's go over to Steam. How do you... Whoa, that's more than we need. Steam, go back over. There we go. All right, let's try a 3D Mark test with the 5070 Ti. Yo, Silk Road, welcome back. Thanks for dropping back by. There are problems with the new thermal gels they use, so be careful. Yeah. Thanks for shouting that out, Silk Road. You're absolutely correct. I was aware of it, and I was talking about it earlier. And in fact, we had someone come by and report they had this exact card, and they said that they are going through the thermal gel dripping, squishing out issue. So that does suck. And I would not want to run it like this. I agree with you. I have a case that allows for vertical. I'm not going to use it in that case. I also have cases that allow for it to be like, for your computer to be on like your left side. So they're, they're like reversed, inverted, or whatever the heck you call it. And so it would run this way. I don't want to run it that way either. I want to I'm only going to put it in a case that runs it at standard. So that way, if any of that leakage happens, hopefully I'm only going to get the what do you call this? The heatsink stuff dirty, right? Instead of the PCB. And I don't know. If it's bad enough in the next 2 weeks, because most people are saying that it happens very quickly. Like within a week or so, they're having it squish out, right? So if it happens bad enough, I may end up taking this back. I got it from a local store, so. Which would suck because it is such a nice looking card, dude. And what this person was saying is they were saying that they were worried that if, you know, they RMA it, that Gigabyte was just going to put the exact same shit back on it, but more of it, you know? All right, so let's try Steel Nomad. And just to, you know, I repeat myself a lot, but I'm going to reiterate. This is an older power supply, so we had to use that adapter. But it's a 1250 watt, 80 plus gold Seasonic. It should be able to handle things. But this doesn't represent the card or Seasonic. If this thing crashes, it's most likely this power supply has had some abuse that I don't know about maybe. But we're gonna cross our butts. That's not a problem, and then it just runs okay. So 170s. While it's waiting to start up tests. And I can already see, like, just from the factory, the type of thermal gel they used is just, I can see it like right there. So. All right, let me share the 3D Mark stuff. Where is it here? Hello. There we go. You can see we're doing regular Steel Nomad right now. We're hitting 400 something, 450 watts. We're in the 450s. With the 1080 Ti, we were barely, what was it? We weren't even breaking like 300, were we? Or were we in the 300s? It's kicking out some heat. Let me touch the back plate and see if it burns the skin off my finger. I mean, it just started working, so. Back plate feels pretty cool. Okay. Dude, this would be hilarious if I can overclock this one or play with it in a way that gets better scores than the smaller 5080 I have. But I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be able to. The main reason I got this one is it was available. It looks beautiful. And the third reason is I wanted a 5070 Ti because it's the lowest tier of 5000 that supposedly has the two NVENC chips in it, or at least processors or streams or whatever the heck they're called, for me to use those for capture and or streaming. I was hoping that would be good for me. All right, so we got a 6892. What did the temperatures do here? How many degrees? Yeah, let's see. Let's see what we're dealing with here. A lot of the reports online are saying this thing runs pretty cool. So let's see. So the blue line is the GPU. 63, 64, maybe 64. Yeah. Let's go down and look what it says for the highest. Wait, where's the drop down at? Show details. No. No. Where is it? Where's the descriptors? Average temperature for GPU 62. I need to pull up like hardware info or something so we can see what hotspots and mem temps are. I don't see anything problematic. But let's go back and do a couple more benches, and then I'll see if I can get hardware monitor or info. I have both, but I don't remember which one I want to use. Let's test out Time Spy Extreme, because we did that with the 1080 Ti, so that way we can see what it does there. So it ran pretty damn cool for Steel Nomad, gotta say, man. Now we could have like a memory module running at like 90 and not know, because I don't have that pulled up. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Let's put on some music. My playlist stopped playing music, so let's start it over. Since I'm advertising music by Karl Casey, I should at least play the music, I guess. Dude! I wish I had a camera like right here, so we can see like if any of the thermal gel starts oozing, we would catch it on stream. Damn it. Missed opportunity. Let me see. Can I move this over? If I have this other one over here, we might be able. I don't know how good the camera quality is probably not that great for a close-up, but we'll see. We'll see what happens here. And then I gotta turn lights on maybe. Okay. Gotta move some stuff around. Hold on. Where's my... Come on, Streamlabs, let me move shit. Thank you. I don't know if you could see it. Liquid metal reference cards, and I thought it would be valid for these cards, but they'll use thermal paste. Well, it depends on the card. So with the liquid metal, obviously, you know, we're talking about, so the gel that's leaking on these Gigabyte cards is not necessarily the paste that's on the core. This is, instead of using thermal pads for like the VRMs and the, I don't know, maybe the memory or whatever, wherever they would put normally like thermal pads, Gigabyte decided to use a weird kind of gel for those places, which if it works the way they advertise, it sounds great. And so on these cards, that's what's kind of oozing around for most people. But some of these cards from the AIBs, some of them do use liquid metal on the core, but it's probably the crazy high-end stuff. You know what I mean? Like their 5090 or 5080 with the freaking liquid cooled radiator thing. So yeah, it kind of sucks. And the other thing is that obviously, if you're not able to get an NVIDIA that uses the liquid metal and that, you know, that kind of cool looking cooler that they developed, you're also paying a lot more than the MSRP, which also sucks. So not only are you paying more, but unless you're getting the top end version of these freaking cards from like Gigabyte or whoever, it's not liquid metal. So yeah, it kind of sucks, man. Really sucks. Sucks and is sus, correct? You know what I mean, Silk? It's pretty wild, dude. I know some also advertised that they used that other stuff. I forgot what it's called. But you know how you can use regular thermal paste, right? Or you can use this thing that's like a pad, but it's not exactly a thermal pad because it kind of is a paste at certain temperatures or whatever. What is that thing called? Some of them use that. What the hell? You know what I'm talking about, Silk? It like changes from like a kind of like a solid or whatever, and then under heat it kind of liquefies a little bit. Some of these people, I think Gigabyte in particular, advertise that they use those on some of their cards. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. I don't remember the name of the damn thing. Alright, so what we got here? We hit a 12,855. But we failed or something? Oh, no, we're not online. That's what it is. Yeah, okay, whatever. Okay, see my temperatures. 60s, 63. What the fuck? This thing is running cool as heck. No way, dude. This is nuts. Alright, let's go down and look at our average. Where is it? Gotta drop this. Average 61 again. Dude, this is pretty fucking crazy. What is this saying? Unable to run. Maybe that's because of my CPU or my something. So Port Royal was 10 FPS for that poor 1080 Ti, which is, you know, we all agree it is goated. Amazing, all-time great, but for modern Port Royal it was struggling. So we'll go ahead and see how the 5070 Ti handles it, which, spoiler alert, probably many of you already know, but I haven't looked into it. Yeah, I can't remember what that freaking stuff is called. Let me look it up real quick. Or maybe it's on the box. Let's see. Because I think this one has it. What the heck is it? Oh, I just remembered. Phase change. Phase change. Whatever. Dude, did we freaking have some from drop frames on my stream? Oh. That sucks, dude. Well, I didn't even get to say goodbye to everybody. Well, anyway, if you come back or you look at the VOD, my bad. I don't know what's going on with my internet sometimes. It kind of crashes. Okay, so anyway, let's see if I could show the... You see that? That's the gel right there. You see it squishing out? You see that? That's crazy, man. Is there any more that I could show? Let's see. There might be some like there as well. Let me see. Under there. See, there's a little bit there. That's the stuff that's like oozing all over the friggin' place. What the frig, dude? Yeah, I hope so, Silk. Yeah, I hope it does. That'd be awesome. You know, anything to give us a little more performance. And then also, looking at the teardowns and the deep dive that Gamers Nexus did with the guy from the cooler division from the NVIDIA, and just how they designed it. You know, basically they over-designed it to keep liquid metal from leaking out. That's amazing. I want more of that too. That is really good. Jinzu, hey, thanks for coming by. What's going on? I got a 5070 void updating driver. Is it safe yet? They did release a 576.28 driver that supposedly fixes the most common issue with 576.02, which is that the temperature sensor would flake out during like sleep mode and things like that, and it would get kind of like frozen and not work anymore. So from that point of view, supposedly yes, that is supposedly fixed, but for right now, keep researching. And yeah, as long as if you don't have any problems with your drivers right now, if your card is working great, nothing wrong with kind of, you know, slowing into it, you know, wait a little bit, see if they got another update that comes out after 576.28. And I assume you're probably talking about the game ready drivers, not the studio drivers, because studio drivers, even though for the most part are the same, but just like more stable versions, or maybe not the newest latest features for game stuff, and more focused on things like DaVinci and, you know, just work stuff. Those are a different case, and I haven't looked into those, so I don't know what bugs and stuff those guys are going through on studio driver side. But if your games are running okay, and your card is okay, and you don't have the black screen issues, and you don't have, you know, any kind of, you know, of the other common things that 5,000 people were going through, yeah, you could just hold off for a little bit and see what the very next one. In my testing, I've been very lucky on the 5080. I did not get 576.02 at all. I got the one right before it, and then I waited. And then when they did 576.28, everything was okay for my 5080. But my 5080 is a lower tier 5080. It's not super overclocked or anything crazy. And then I have a PNY 5070 that I'm actually using studio drivers on it, and I've been using the 576.02 driver, but the studio version, which is different. And so far it seems to be okay. So everything's running good for you so far, Jinzu? No major problems? Do you know what, just curious, do you know what driver you're on right now? What number? Just curious, because, you know, there's a lot of other factors. You know, most of it is the driver that's having problems. It's just NVIDIA's drivers are just all kinds of screwed up. But there's also, you know, for a lot of people, it could just be a combination of parts too. Yo, little Chris, what is up? Little Chris fan, thanks for dropping by. Your dream graphics card. Oh, okay. You like all white builds, or do you like to mix and match and make a different theme, like two-tone or something, two-color theme? No problems. Had a freeze yesterday in league match. Everything is smooth. Game ready. 57283. Okay. Yeah. That one seems okay. I used that one for quite a while on the 5080 before like I said, I leapfrogged over the 76.02. I jumped right over that one because I was lucky that I didn't jump on the driver immediately, and then I saw all the like drama reports of it having problems, and I was like, oh, thank God I didn't update that thing, because that's all I need is for that kind of stuff to happen. Yo, Jinzu, thanks for that sub on YouTube. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it for you dropping that. Sorry, my alerts, I gotta update them. They're like It's like they're hard to see or something. Plus they're like the theme is older. I just gotta change the theme out on them. Get to summer, you know, spring and summertime. Alright, let's see what the temps on this are. For Port Royale. Dude, chill. Taskbar trying to sabotage me. Still in the 60s. Dude, this card is like the coolest running. Like the 5070 runs hotter than this. What the heck? This is wild to me. 62 average. I hope it's not something else. Temperatures may change when I put it into its main build, because I'll have a better, more performant CPU. It'll be running on PCI 5.0, so I don't know. Some of these temperature numbers could change. So this combination, what it's running on right now, is a 5950X on an X570 EVGA Dark motherboard. So the PCI slot is only 4.0. I don't know how, usually that it's not a big effect, but just, you know, putting it out there, because sometimes that does change performance numbers. Depending on what you're doing, it can sometimes be significant. Pre-installed an older version, warned me not to update. Oh, good looking out, man. I wish, you know, I wish there were more bros like that out in the world. That's great. Yeah, good job. Good job. Wherever you got your pre-installed stuff, good job to them, man. Nice. Putting in these slots under the GPU. Yes, yes. Me too. I agree. The things get toasty, don't they? I was just, and it's so weird because I was just talking about, I wish it could not be expensive for them to do this, but I wish they would start making GPU coolers like this same style, right? But like make it in a way where the air can exit from the ports and the front and this side as well, and then close this backside off so we could stop baking our chipsets and our M.2 drives, man. Because it's like I'm melting my my 990s, my Samsungs. I feel like sometimes they're just like they gotta be melting, you know. But whatever. All right, so let me close this, and I'm gonna try to get the one more thing. It looks, thank God, so far we're pretty good. If anybody's late joining, we downloaded GPU-Z, something you can all try out if you feel like it. And there's other software that does the same thing, so just, you know, find the one that you like. But this is the one that was recommended by Jay's 2 Cents and a bunch of other people. And we use this to check if we have the ROPs that we're supposedly supposed to have. And so for a 5070 Ti, you're supposed to have the 96 ROPs. And thank God we do have that. So we won't have to return the card based on it having, you know, 88 or whatever the heck ROPs the ones that have missing ROPs are at. So that's good. And then, you know, you could just get the lowdown on your card if you use these softwares. And I just get it from Tech Power Up, you know. But like I said, you get wherever you get the software you like to use, because there's other software that can look at the ROPs too. And then you can also check what PCI you're running at, just in case you accidentally put an M.2 in the wrong slot and now you're sharing lanes or something. Or like in this case, you know, again, this is a PCI 4.0 board and we're using a riser cable. This is also another way for you to check, okay, am I getting the 4.0 speeds? Or if it was a 5.0 board with a 5.0 riser, am I getting those 5.0 speeds? This is a way to check it. So on the left is what your card is able to do, what it reports it can do. And on the right is what you're actively using at that given time. I guess it measures you know, how much speed is going through it. So you always have to click this question mark, and I'll bring it up bigger here so we can see. You always have to click on that question mark so that you can initiate this, like, this is little nothing render test, and that puts a load on your GPU so it can check, are you using 4.0 speeds? Are you using 5.0 speeds? So in our case with this setup, we're using what we expect and what we want, which is the max of this board, which is 4.0. So that's no problem. We're good to go. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off that. 4 GPU slots for no reason. Oh yeah. Wait, what board do you have? Do you have the Godlike, Jinsu? You don't understand any of this stuff? Well, I mean, I don't either. I know enough. There's a saying. I know enough about this stuff to be dangerous, right? So I know enough that I could fuck shit up, perhaps. But basically, I don't know if just to try to put it in basic terms, this is just like making sure your card has what NVIDIA is advertising to you that it should have, right? So every tier card is supposed to have a certain number of these ROPs, which are raster operations. I guess they're the tiny little parts of the core or something. I don't know. But anyway, you just nowadays with the 5000, there's been some defective cards that are missing a certain amount of those, right? And so what you do is you get just one of your system info type softwares, and through this we can see whether or not we're getting what's advertised. So like 5070 Ti, I guess, is supposed to be 96. I think 5070 is supposed to be 80. 5080, I don't remember what it's supposed to be, and the 5090 is supposed to be a certain thing, right? And so you just Google what is your card supposed to have, and then you look here on the left and you see, does that number match what your card should have? If it doesn't, most manufacturers are doing RMAs, or in some cases maybe you just return it to wherever you bought it, and hopefully they have stock for you to switch out with. If they don't, then you probably would do RMA. That way you can at least get a replacement card, because this will affect performance to a certain degree. It's probably not a huge hit if you're only missing 1, which would give you 8 less than 96, which would be 88. Probably not a huge hit, but still, if you pay for something, and we pay a lot of money for this shit, you want what it's supposed to have. And then as far as the bus lanes, that's just the speed at which the PCI connection is able to transfer the data from the card or to the card. And you know, same thing, some people use riser cables, which is what I'm using right now just to test this thing. And this is a good way to make sure, is your riser cable working correctly, you know? So that's all. There's a bunch of hubba. B650, oh yeah, that's a good board, man. Those chipsets are fine. MSI, okay. ATX socket, AM5. Okay, cool. Yeah, unfortunately, like most boards, the M.2s end up being right under the GPU. So they're, most of them, except for, you know, like maybe your main slot will be the top one or something. Or if you have a lot of M.2 slots, there might be some that, you know, extend all the way down to the bottom of the board, and those will be away from the GPU's heat exhaust on the side. But yeah, unfortunately a bunch of them are like that. So I just think they could make heat sinks designed not to dump hot air onto the board. Or, you know, if you want to go that route, you get a riser cable and you can you can make sure it doesn't dump it on your M.2s. Top one, yeah, those get toasty too though. That's true. Because that's right next to the back plate or the back of a GPU, and those modules get really hot as well. Alright, so I'm going to try and get hardware info. And I think this might be the end. The end. This would be the last thing that I try out, I believe. I might do a game. Just, you know, see if gaming works on it. You know, I don't know. If 3D Mark works, everything else should be fine, right? Let me switch over here. Turn this off. And where is my hardware? Which one do I have? I'm gonna say what I have. I think I have monitor, right? No, I have hardware info. Very good. No problem. Alright, let's see. I'm gonna try to load that up. I'll do hardware info 64. I'll just do sensors only. I don't really need to mess with all the other stuff. Alright, let's see if we can share that on stream. Bit upset the guy didn't recommend liquid cooling for the Ryzen 7700X. He recommended, which then I found out a 7900X is like $10 difference if I'm not mistaken. Though he gave me good discounts. Yeah, I mean, that's a tough business, you know, and on both sides, you know, it's like how do you know if someone's giving you, and then if they're giving you the right advice? And then even if you're in the know, there's just so much information and maybe even conflicting information out there. It can get quite confusing. I will say this. There are cases, even though you kind of feel like, oh man, that sucks. The 7900X is only $10 more. There are situations where, like for example, the 7900 series and the 9900 series from AMD, their chiplet design, sometimes, if you're just mostly gaming, sometimes you can have slightly less performance depending on the game than something like a 7700X. And the reason for that is because there's latency between the two chiplets. So it just depends. I'm not familiar. I haven't looked at the 7700X in a while. So it's weird. With AMD, it's not always the higher tier model is better for gaming, right? They have some weird stuff going on where there are cases, like for example, the 9800 X3D and the 7800 X3D are usually much better than the 7900 X3D and the 9900 X3D respectively, because it's separate chiplet design or whatever. So you might have actually lucked out. For gaming side of it, that 7700X may be just as good or better for gaming, and you may only be losing out if we're talking about something like that uses a ton of cores or something. Maybe, I don't know. Oh, dude, same thing with me. Like, I look into it more than most people maybe, and so I kind of stay a little bit up to date with some of this stuff. But dude, watching YouTube videos always makes me like, oh, I gotta have that. Oh wait, I should have upgraded to that. Like I have a 5080 and I wish I would have been able to get a 5090, but the 5080 is crazy good. So it's like, I don't know, it's one of those situations where you get the wants. Okay, so these aren't showing up, these sensors. That's fine, we'll minimize that. That's just motherboard stuff. Trying to get down to the GPU. Or did I pass it? Where is it? Where is it? Gotta load the GPU here somewhere. Dun, dun, dun. Where the fuck? Is it part of this one that didn't load? I might have to load. There's a certain feature for this motherboard that you get asked if you want to load it or not. I might have to turn that on. Let's see here. What is this picking up on? Yeah, it's picking up on that PCI port on the motherboard. Let's see if we can check for updates. Let me switch back over in case it shares my info. There we go, there we go. 5070. Oh no, I think the 5070 is a good card. I was getting that feeling too, man. The same thing. Cause I got a 5070 as well. And I was feeling a little bit of buyer's remorse when I got that. But when I started using it, and again, once you feel safe to update to the next drivers, some of the performance is improved as well on some of the newer drivers. Just make sure you skip the one that had the temperature issues whenever you decide to update. But like the 5070 is freaking good, man. Are you kidding me? 5070 is a lot of people are just mad. What I think people are mad at is the YouTubers are just throwing shade at NVIDIA because NVIDIA pulled a lot of BS that they shouldn't have. They pulled BS with prices. Their partners, all these AIBs like Gigabyte and stuff, they pulled a ton of bullshit with prices, low stock. They let scalpers and bots buy up all the stock. They didn't even try to stop that. None of these sellers tried to stop that. And then on top of it, NVIDIA wants to say the 5070 is as good as a 4090. Dude, what? Like if I were to say a 4080 is as good as a 4090, that would be dumb. If I would say a 5080 is as good as a 4090, that would be dumb. And so a lot of YouTubers were mad at NVIDIA for doing that. To me, that's just bad marketing. It's almost it's straight up lying almost. And so a lot of their hate was for that. But if they wouldn't have had all those problems, I think the 5070 would have been reviewed really well if NVIDIA would have just marketed it more fairly instead of being greedy bastards. Right, yeah. The 4090, I guess, because, the 5000 can do multi-frame gen versus the 4000 series is doing most of the time just like one frame in between real frame. But again, I don't have a problem with frame gen. I use it sometimes. I don't have a problem with upscaling. I use that as well sometimes. None of that bothers me. I think the problem... Yo, thanks for that follow, Jinzu. Appreciate it. But I think the problem for me with the marketing of those things is that's not what makes a GPU better than a previous GPU, right? What makes GPUs better than a previous GPU is just frame versus frame. Real game frame versus real game frame. And the more powerful or better optimized GPU will pump out more frames. And that's how they should have tried to market it. But they got greedy and they wanted to say a 5070 is as fast as a 4090. But if they would have just reported what the 5070 can do versus a 4070, it is better. The end. Maybe it's not, 2 times faster. Of course it's not. But You know, that's NVIDIA for you. They're always going to market things from a business perspective. And you know, don't get me wrong, all of the partner card makers, they wrote it with NVIDIA. They could have reported things however they wanted, but they went with the same reporting that NVIDIA did. So yeah, Jinsu, my Twitch is usually my main stream because of the way it ties in with Streamlabs. I think there's a couple things I can do to speed up YouTube and the other ones, so I'm going to try to tweak that. But you know, I usually just don't want to screw up my stream because I've had the stream like working fairly good these last couple days, whereas you know, the last week it was dropping frames like every 5 minutes, so I don't want to go back to that. Quality without frame jam. I can't remember how much the 180. Oh, there's a 180, so I gotta use the frame jam. Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, you got one of those high hertz monitors. That's cool. Yeah, 5070 is fucking good, man. Dude, I compared it to, I have a 3080 Ti for the Wen 3 Ultra from EVGA that I got when it was new, that I think cost, the price for that thing brand new when I got it was like $1,300 or more. But then the 5070, which you can get, you know, depending, you know, you can get it between, it's rare, but every now and then you can pick up an MSRP version. So you can get it between $550 and $800. I wouldn't pay $800 for a 5070 unless all the other cards prices move up. You know what I mean? Like these right now are 1,000 plus in some places. So in that case, yeah, okay, fine. But anyway, like the 5070 for it, it's half the price of the 3080 Ti. And it performs in some places just as good. In other ways, in many other ways, it outperforms that 3080 Ti. No problem. Easy. And it uses way less power. The 3080 Ti for the Wen Ultra 3, that thing will pull total system power on a build like this. It will pull like 500 to 600 watts from the wall. But with the 5070, you're pulling like 300 to 400. So up to 200 watts less total system power usage. It's crazy. So again, if they would have marketed it right, market it on power savings, you know, marketed it on it runs cooler, and you still get the performance, then the 5070 would have been loved, in my opinion. The reason it's hated is 100% of how NVIDIA marketed it. And also maybe they could have, you know, threw us a little bit more VRAM. You know what I mean? They could have thrown us a little more. I don't know. You didn't see the marketing? Yeah, that, I mean, it was just a shit show. You're good that you didn't see it. Good on you. It was crap fest. All right, I need see if there's any updates for this hardware info. So we can try to see if it'll pick up on the GPU. So I want to see if I can find. Yeah, it doesn't want to pick up on it. I want to see the sensors for like the memory temperatures and stuff. Could be the riser cable. Doesn't like it. Or my motherboard. Well, You know what? That will be a fight for another day. How about instead of fighting with that, let me just test maybe Cyberpunk real quick. Hopefully it's installed. All right. Let me turn on the NVIDIA, what is it called? Overlay or something like that. And then I'll share my screen as soon as I get this thing going here. Where the heck is NVIDIA? I want to do where's the setting? Where's the overlay? How do you turn it on? Drivers? No. Oh, wait. What is it telling me? Does the overlay need internet access? That's fine. I'll plug in the Ethernet cable. I got everything, you know, set the way I want it, so I don't have to worry about Windows screwing up my update. They leave the more VRAM for Ti. Yeah. Yeah, and also they're gonna release some supers. They're gonna release supers, so that by doing this, it allows them to, you know, scalp us for more money. All right, let's see here. Let's see if we got internet now for this poor thing. Okay, graphics. Okay, so it's downloading all the stuff. All right, whatever. No problem, Jinzu. I'm fighting with the overlay anyway. Don't worry about it. I should be here for another 20-30 minutes. Alright, I think I got that working. So now we can hopefully... Back. Let's see if we can kind of make this fit better here. Yeah, that's fine. And then, I don't know why it keeps trying to fetch tuning stuff. I don't want that. Whatever. Alright, now we will try out Cyberpunk 2077 and then I can share the screen. Alright, let's share it up. Let's see if this shows up on stream. Okay, so this needs to move because I can't see all the statistics. What is that? Is that this? Yeah, that's that. Put that right there for now. All right. Let's try it out. Let's see what happens here. See if I can scoot over here so I can try to play the game. Hopefully everything runs okay. Of course they want me to agree to whatever the heck they want me to agree, I guess. Let's see, how's the gel holding up here, I wonder. Oh, my head's hurting me. I think I'm getting a headache from looking at these screens too much here. What's it doing? Installing something? Of course, it had to fucking install their Project Red launcher crap. What does this want now? Oh, of course. What is this? Allow access, I guess. Alt tab. Go over to this thing. It's fine. Okay, switch over here. And then let's try to make the... No, that's the wrong one. What is it called? This one. A little bigger. You can see them fans are spinning. They are spinning. Bring this over here. Alright, so that I'm gonna get rid of the power whatever thing, 'cause that's not the correct. That's for a different rig, so we shall move that. Okay. What are our settings at here? Ray tracing ultra. Oh gosh. Oh my gosh. This is a lot of stuff. What the frig? I guess I shouldn't mess with this stuff too much, right? Just let it be. Defaults or whatever, so we can see what the game's like. So we'll continue, and let's see what's the power draw right now. Total system power draw is 450s. Gel looking oozy. Looking freaking oozy, man. And then once we get into the room here, so we're just at the beginning here. Alright, we're using 260 watts from the GPU. That's crazy, dude. That's crazy. Oh, what the hell? '50s in the FPS sector. Temperatures in the 50s. That is crazy. A lot of screen tearing because I have it just uncontained right now. No VER, no VRR or G-Sync or V-Sync, as far as I can tell. Alright. Alright, that's cool. I don't want to play too far into this one because I don't want to melt the gel too much. So let's go ahead and quit completely out, and let's pick another game to mess around with. Whoa, it flatlined. No, it didn't. I exited. What is your problem? Okay, whatever. What is a difficult game to run, I wonder? We could test out here. Maybe Doom Eternal? Hellblade might be difficult. Idle streaming. Armored Core, no. Bioshock, no. Blood Rain. GTA 5, but that's legacy, so that won't be the newest graphics. Pew pew! Pew pew! What's up, buddy? What are you doing? Bye. Beep beep. Hmm. Those are Doom Eternal. Screw it. Let's see. Okay, of course. Gotta accept a bunch of things. What's wrong? Oh man, it's food time. Alright, well let's just slap through a little bit of Doom Eternal real quick. We'll pick up my daughter was playing this I don't know, I feel like a year ago is the last time this has been booted up. So we'll just pick up on whatever the save is. And then see what our temps are, power, all that kind of stuff, and then we'll probably call it there. Sorry if I end up missing you, Jinzu. Might be ending sooner than I had expected. But wow, what a nice turnout today. Appreciate everybody. Came here and hung out and chatted, and all the lurkers as well. Appreciate it. Lots of follows and subs today. And the multi-stream worked mostly, though it looks like our main Twitch stream is quite a bit ahead of the other streams, like on YouTube and stuff. So I might look into tweaking some things to see if I can get them to be closer together. So we'll see. And then what is going on here? Did we crash? I think we crashed. Let's see. It does not like. Could be the capture card or something maybe. Let's see what is going on here. What are we doing? We only use like 30 watts. Yeah, 40 degrees. Yeah, Doom's not running normally right now. That is not correct. So let's try to restart this guy. Let's go here. And let's just see if we can exit. If not, then I'll tell... no, go away. I'll see if this can stop it. See if Steam can stop it. Yo, Jadzu. Yeah, I'll probably be... I'm glad you're back, man. I'll probably be ending soon. It is food time here in the Jones household, so... I'm gonna have to hit up some grub. If I can't get Doom to work, it might be I'm using an external drive, USB-C drive, and some games don't like that. Maybe, I don't know. No, I didn't. So I can pull up that right now. We can do the all I did was like roam around the room. So I can pull up a benchmark and we'll use that as our end. Because I think Doom Eternal, I might have to verify the files, like the integrity of the game files. So Cyberpunk came up no problem. So I think we're okay. Let's just kind of make this fit a little better. Right there. Okay, now we can try to go into Cyberpunk. I think we'll be okay. Cause just playing in the beginning room, your apartment, it was fine. So I think it's just Doom is probably maybe the game files are corrupted on Doom Eternal. Let's go, let's go, let's go. See if we can get a benchmark. Alrighty. So graphics. Whoa, got all the ray tracing on? Did it do that automatically? Or did I leave it that way from before? I don't know actually. So there's the settings. And let's see what's up with the video. 4K, borderless. But we are doing, it looks like we do have DLSS on. Nah, whatever. We'll just leave it like that for now, I guess. Hypnotizing, yeah. Let's see, is my... Look at that, that's so weird. It looks like they're not moving. That is so weird, dude. What the heck? It's like magic. They're spinning. I guess the frame rate of the camera is slow, maybe? That is so strange. let me see. Let's see that on a bigger image here. What? That is so creepy. Wow, look at the center. How the center looks like it's going the opposite way very fast. And then the outside, the blades. The blades are... They are moving though. Here, I'll try to show you with this one. See? See? That's weird, right? That is so weird. What the heck? Yeah, the frame rate of that overhead camera must be like weird or something. Alright, so that's, we'll just leave those settings and that way we can just get like a benchmark before I end the stream. Let's just see if it looks okay. Let me switch back over to the live scene. And capture is kind of weird. I don't know why it's doing that. Capture is kind of strange. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. Yeah, the camera. Yeah, it might be on 30 FPS. The camera's supposed to have the ability to hit 60. Though, obviously it depends on what resolution you choose. So, I probably have it on a 30 FPS mode. Yeah, it's running alright. We are using an upscaling thing. Some DLSS. And then I'll double check all the settings when it's done so we can see what it's using to get these results. What settings. Yeah, that GPU will trip you out. Oh, now it's speeding up again. Look at it. The camera speeded up. What the frig? To 140? Maybe. Alright, so we have it. On windowed borderless. No frame gen, as you said. Okay, and then the DLSS we're using is performance mode. Okay, okay. No sharpness. Ray reconstruction. Oh, maybe that helps with the ray tracing? I don't know. Alright, so let's try it like you said. Let's throw on some, where is it? Let's throw this on. Hopefully we don't have to restart. Oh, you have to restart. Okay, we'll restart it. That's fine. Let's restart it so we can make sure that it runs the way we want it to. Yes. Oh, really? Yeah, maybe. Maybe with the newer updates it might work a little better as far as getting you some better FPS numbers. Yeah, that's possible. I did play around a little bit with FSR, but not with an AMD GPU recently. I was playing around with it for the 1080 Ti just to see if it helped with Monster Hunter Wilds benchmark. And it was pretty amazing. It actually did help quite a bit using FSR. But on an older NVIDIA GPU. So that was kind of wild. Let me see, did it stay? Okay, so frame gen, let's change. Let's change to, oops, DLSS. I guess I don't want to mess with this. That might screw things up. Then I'll leave that alone. Frame gen. What do you mean? FSR. Is that the only way it works on Cyberpunk? Because if so, I did not know that. Resolution. Oh, really? Yeah, that's what I kind of feel like I experienced with my 1080 Ti. That it did a better job of helping out my old 1080 Ti than what FrameGen did on some newer NVIDIA GPUs I was testing when I was using NVIDIA's tech. Yeah, maybe I need an update. This is an old SSD I had laying around that may have some older versions of the games. I don't know. Well, let's see. Let me just run it. Let me just go ahead and run what's up. Because I want to see if it even applied, you know, FSR at all. I don't even know if it applied it. I did restart the game. At least I think I did. Maybe I got to talking and I might have been talking and missed it. Let's see, we're in the 70s. I don't think I applied it. Or if I did, something else changed. 'Cause this doesn't seem right. Bum, bum. Oh, you need to eat too. Oh yeah, it's true. I know, I'm here trying to figure this out. We got scammed, bro. Yeah, it could just be like, you know, I have a funky setup going on right now. So the next, hopefully on the next stream, I'll have it installed in the regular build. And so that should actually show us, you know, no riser cable, you know. It'll be on like a more normal setup, a newer CPU and all that. So hopefully all the drivers and stuff like are fleshed out. with newer versions or something. Because I might have some older stuff on this. No, frame generation did not apply. And then it went with FSR. That is weird. Hold on. Like it's here. Like you can see it here. You see? It is here. But then when I go... Where do I go here? Frame gen, right? When I turn on frame gen, then everything changes. I don't know why. That is weird, dude. You know what? So actually, let's not worry ourselves too much about it. Let's call it there. And I don't even want to consider this the real Cyberpunk experience. I'm going to... The card works. It has the ROPS. It's not melting. The thermal gel is yet to be determined. We'll keep an eye on it. But I'm going to end, and then the next stream, I'll have it in my regular build. So that should give us a better indication of what actually happens in Cyberpunk. Because on that build, I actually have the game updated and all that kind of stuff. So all right, let me get out of this. I don't want to apply anything else because who knows? Who knows what I'm doing? Applying to that. Also, remember I'm using like an external. I'm hooked up to USB-C for my Steam games. I don't know if that has an effect on things sometimes, maybe. Yeah. Thanks for hanging out, Jinzu. Appreciate it. And don't forget, you know, if you need the best viewers, Torturous Heart has you back right there. Right there. Torturous Heart. What in the fuck? He wants me to get some viewers, man. He's just trying to help me out. You know how it is. The bots are being bros right now. They're trying to help us out. But anyway. But thanks for hanging, dude. Thanks for those follows you gave me on both platforms. Yeah, no, not phishing. No, why would he do that? Why would that? It's not a scam or anything. Oh man. But yeah, thanks a lot for following and chatting it up and keeping me company while we tried to test this card out. Hopefully we'll be able to do a little bit more accurate testing when I throw it into the 7950 X3D build, and that way we'll have a real confirmation if the card is actually legit and all that kind of stuff. So Yep. Most likely, if I did come back today, yeah, you'll probably be asleep because I wouldn't come back for probably an hour or so. But if I don't come back today, it would be tomorrow, and it would probably be similar timing. So anyway, thanks again, dude. And shout out to all, you know, any of the lurkers if you're still around out there. Thanks for everybody coming out to watch. We'll definitely look forward to more testing, and I don't know if there's gonna be, yeah, there might be more unboxings, I don't know, but hopefully not too many unboxings. I don't know how much more my credit card can handle, but that is it for now. Ciao everybody, have a good one. See you later, Jinzu.